So y'all know my videos be so random, but I want to talk to y'all about the movie CB4 because it was one of my favorite movies when I was younger, and I used to have the tape, so I used to just rewind it and watch it over and over. But one thing I noticed about this movie was the fact that, like a lot of the other, hip hop classic movies, this one really wasn't played as much and ran over and over like some of the other movies that we're extremely familiar with, like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and, you know, other hood classic films. But this happened to come on one of the subsidiary stars channels. I don't even know which one, but it was on and I caught it like a few minutes in, and it reminded me of the overall premise of the movie. And when I was a kid, I had to be about 9 years old when this came out, and I just remember this movie being so vividly reminiscent of NWA and just their overall story, and the fact that it completely highlighted the fact that rappers, although they were portraying this gangster image and dressing like neighborhood gangsters and stuff like that, they were strictly entertainers. Now, I picked up on that as a 9 year old and I knew exactly what they were saying in this film, but it was literally the blueprint on how to be a rapper, become a rapper, promote rap music, and just how the political world and that world collide. But I want to go a little bit deeper into this whole thing because there's this idea that the indoctrination of violence was increased in urban communities because of rap music, right? And I just want to call BS on that because what honestly really happened was people listened to things and they gravitated towards either who they already were or who they wanted to be. And y'all know I don't take long to get to the point. So the point is, they want people to continue to point the finger at outside existences so that you don't turn inwards and figure out what your real problem is. I was a kid when this movie came out, and I understood at 9 years old what this movie meant. And the fact that they're trying to say that people older than me who were a part of this similar culture were listening to this music, and this music was causing them to want to sell drugs, causing them to want to commit crimes, causing them to do all types of things that maybe they wouldn't have done if they weren't listening to the music. No, I don't believe that. I believe that you made a choice to do something, whether good or bad. You did it. It turned out bad. You went to jail. That was a you problem. That wasn't a music problem. That wasn't a somebody influenced me into doing this problem. That was a you problem. Maybe at the moment you thought it was cool, but who goes out and just see something on TV and just says, "You know what? I'm going to do that right there." Huh? Those are the actions of someone who doesn't have control over their own brain, and they are programmed by something external, which is why TV is called programming. It is designed to captivate people who do not know who they are, which is the same thing that's happening with social media. Because social media has taken precedence over TV, social media, streaming services, and all of that. So now there's even more ways and angles that your brain can be tapped into, and you can be allegedly misguided. But the truth is only one way you can be misguided, and that's if you misguide yourself. what led you to follow the TV? Things can only come in if you open the door. I think this movie was intentionally not replayed over and over again because it was far too informational, and it was a possibility that it could actually wake people up because gangster rap hit around the early 90s, and this movie came out in 93. So this movie came out right on the heels of the introduction to gangster rap. So they let you know that it was fake right off the bat. So the whole, oh, we were indoctrinated with violence through rap music, we got to stop that. Let's come up with a new story. It wasn't the hip hop. You just made a bad decision and you had to pay for it.